I'd like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity podcast for Top Gun Sales Bootcamp Training. Let's dive right in. Nora, what you got?
I had 26% yesterday.
So, what's really good about that?
She's consistent.
Be consistent. Yeah, so good. You're consistent. You got greater consistency. And in pickleball, probably a year and a half ago, I said I have got to work on my consistency. And so consistency, that's you got consistency, consideration, and competency. So good work on that. Do you have a system for when given direction, um, that you write down, like I call it like the whiteboard system, and you have a whiteboard where you work and then you say, okay, I need to do this and this and this. Do you have that system, Nora?
Yeah, well, I have a separate tablet to write those tasks in.
Okay. All right. So I would go ahead and today or today, this weekend, something, I would go ahead and connect with me and say, hey, how do we get it from 25% to 50%? How do we create a new floor of 50% and a new ceiling of 75%? Make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I did make 26 calls yesterday, but nobody picked up, so that wasn't very helpful. Well, I got 3 people, but
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the beauty of the PPA because you realize pretty quick you could make 25 phone calls and get 25%. You could make 5 phone calls and get 75%. I mean, the PPA it's a magic. I mean, it's crazy on how it trains your brain. I've got to do quantity, but boy, that quality is better be there. So good. Luke, what you got?
You mentioned something earlier this week about being in the pickleball booklet. How do we get into the pickleball booklet and what do we want in there?
So most likely you let me know and let Nora know. She has the capability to make those decisions. And so she becomes very, very powerful. So she can make decisions, doesn't have to ask, just does stuff. Doesn't mean she doesn't ask, but she doesn't have to. She can just make decisions and let her roll. And so what you're looking for is you're looking for perfect timing. Um, Nora, can you relate what one gentleman said about the booklet? Own a business with, or own a job, own a company, not a job.
which one?
Very, very significant because it helps your brain to realize the importance of perfection. I mean, just absolutely like in Ford versus Ferrari, the perfect lap.
The one where he said there's like enough information to like make you wanna know more information, but not too much to where you can do it on your own.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So people don't recognize the significance of that. And that's all of us. Like we don't recognize me. Like I don't recognize the significance of what I do, the brilliance of what I do until somebody tells me. And then when somebody tells me, they're like, that is brilliant. Like Tony doing volunteer work for him and ADHD. And he went ahead and said, he said, that's brilliant, Mark. I'm like, what's that? And he said, that you have 5 wins for every major thing you're involved in. And so somehow he picked up the brilliance. I just said it casually to him, like, what I try to do is in business, I try to get 5 wins. Like before I move, I try to have, okay, if I do this, that's a win. If I do this, it's 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 a win. If there's 5 of them, I've told that to a lot of people, but nobody's ever validated it. Nobody's ever said that is genius, Mark. Like there's not very many people that know how to think like that. Like really? Like doesn't everybody do that? I mean, so I didn't realize the significance of that until he validated that, and all of a sudden that becomes more powerful now. Because I'm like, ooh, I got to share that with other people. I got to train other people how to do that. And so what Nora was able to do is she was able to sense and feel the power of like the perfect amount of information, not too much, not too little. So when you're in the pickleball, so you go into, there's a whole bunch of flip books. And so Nora, oh, here's the financial freedom. Nice. So what you're doing is when you go through it, you have no distractions. You're totally focused on everything like here. And you just go, okay, so you erase, it's the curse of knowledge. Another great course to take through Life Masteries Institute is sticky messages. And so that's box 2, I believe. Yeah, I believe that's sticky messages. And it was created, and the foundation of that one was Made to Stick by Dan and Chip Heath. Phenomenal book. So it's how do you get your message sticky? And so ask a question, tell a story. But they talk about there in about the curse of knowledge. And the curse of knowledge is we're at the unconscious competence level. So there's 4 levels of learning. So we're so good at what we do, we don't even know it. It's reflex. It's just doing it. So it's a good place to be for personal productivity, but it's not a good place to be to transfer it over to somebody else. So what you're looking for is you got to get rid of the curse, the knowledge, because the knowledge is the curse. So you go through this as if you were going through this as a client, as one of your clients. And then you're going through it as if you're one of Jason's clients or one of Nora's clients. You're going through it, or a total stranger. You're going through it as an English. You're going through it as a Amish. You're going through it as a man. You're going through it as a woman. You're going through it as a older man and a younger woman, older woman, younger man. You're going through it as if you're married. You're going through it if you're not. Like you're going through this, all these different things, but you're not going through it as you. And then you look in here and you say, okay, where do I want to be? Like, where do I want to be in here? And then what do I want to go ahead and communicate? What do I want to add to the booklet? What do I want to add to the booklet that's going to bring value, that people are going to say, so when I was playing with Courtney, she's the pro, I said, I want you, can you go ahead and do lessons for my 10 grandchildren? She's like, not all together. And I said, no, I want them all together. And she says, well, they could join my kids program. I said, no. I want to be there with them. Like grandpa wants to be there with them. And immediately she goes, oh, like boom. That's with a woman. That's the awe factor. Like, oh, that is so sweet. I don't know. I want them to have some good memories of grandpa. And, she's a better coach in pickleball, but grandpa knows every one of those kids. And I want them to take the pickleball and apply it to life. I don't want it just to pickleball. And so you look through here and you say, okay, where do I ideally want to put what I'm doing? You don't want to put it too soon, and you don't want to put it too slow. And then there's these books have up to 80 pages. So, so you can look at it. So there's 68 pages. So you've got 12 more pages. So like a top sponsor, if you can get 4 pages in one of these flip books, that's crazy. You must be doing something right. So then, you go ahead, and if you have 3 pages, well, you got to have 4. There's got to be 4 pages to make it even, but you could take 2 and somebody else could take 2 or whatever. But if you had 4 pages, you might have 1 page of value. Like something that your parents did teach you, or something that you didn't learn that you wish you would have. And so you go ahead and do that. And then you go ahead, and then what do you want? What's your end result? Like, what's the end result that you're looking? And Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, another phenomenal book. like reading books will shape your mind. They say that it takes an average author 35 years of life experience to write a book. So what you're doing is you're paying, I don't know, 20, 30 bucks for 35 years of experience, minimum of 35 years of experience. And they're pouring it in. All you got to do is read it. And if you're not good at reading, don't like reading, then do, audio. Personally, I don't like audio because you often, like when I don't like reading, but when I read a book, I read a book. I might read 2-3 pages and just I just absorb it. I just like I'm like a 3-year-old, and like, what do I need to learn? Like I'm reading it like I'm never going to read it again, because I don't, almost never, except Made to Stick. So then you go ahead and say, okay, I'm going to bring value where people are going to say, wow, like, oh, like, so I don't know what that is, but this is a kid's book. This got kid stuff in it. So do you go ahead and put something, do you put something about, like a graphic for kids to color? And then you take the Dreamscape, right? Well, Dreamscape is in here. So there's something Dreamscape in here. Did you know that, Luke?
Yes.
Okay. So, but it doesn't have the awe factor. It doesn't say, oh, those guys are, oh, like I want my daughter to marry that guy. Like, it doesn't have that. Like, oh, like it's got to have like this is in the business. Ooh, this is in the business section. But what you guys, that's good. You have it in there, but can you get it into the personal, area? Like for kids. And if you go ahead and if like here, can you get it into here and then have some about construction? Like when you grow up, do you want to be a carpenter or a plumber? What do you want to do when you grow up? And talk about your life vision or something. I don't know. So you go ahead and then like what you want is you want to put your mom into tears. You want your dad to be choked up and say, I'm proud of you, son. Like, wow. Like, wow. Like, whoa. So you want your family members to go, that's my son right there. That's my brother. That's my brother. My brother's right there. This is my brother. See, that's what you want. You want it to be something that's so intoxicating. The hypopia kick in, or hypopia. Hypoxia, I don't know that you want that because that's less oxygen to the brain. But hypopia, you want it to be so it's like, wow, that's crazy. That is so cool. That is so innovative. Go after the kids, and so you run that into the dreamscape. Like, what's your dream? Like, you guys don't understand. And then you could have a song about it. You could have Dreamscape have their own song. Cheapers. Like that fits into the dreamscape. Like there's so many memories. Like, why are you building a house? Because those memories are going to last forever. Like those memories are going to last forever. Like if you growing up and playing hide and seek and you doing this and you doing that and mom and dad and kids and brothers and like it forges the foundation of who the person is. That's dreamscape. Like that's the vision. Like, yeah, big and profitable and yeah, and employment, and you want to do, but it's so much more than that. Like, what is your dream? Like, you go ahead and get the kids, like you have the kids go ahead and you say, like, you have the kids, this is so awesome. Like, you go, like, what would you love, around your house? Like, what do you want? What would dream about your house and what it would be? Like when we lived in the suburbs of Chicago, about 30 miles west of Chicago, and we had this, beautiful home, big home. It's like a resort. And then we had this yard and fence around it. And the boys went ahead and did airsoft war fighting. Like it was crazy. So, like, what do you, as a child, what do you dream of? Like, what do you love most about your home? Like, what do you love most about your home, and what would be your dream home or dream something? Like, like, so you guys aren't married and you don't have children, so you don't understand. If you're saying, so Mark, look, is what you're saying that when you get married and you have children, that you'll understand? No, I'm not saying that. But you could. I mean, I think it's a choice. I don't know. So, I mean, like Tom Kuntz when we're out in Southern California, and Tom, how, because we're not hitting our financial numbers. Like we had goals, we weren't even close. Like, so I'm a little nervous. He's gonna dump my sorry ass. Like he's gonna, like, like, so I'm like, hey Tom, how do you think the partnership is going? He's like, oh, it's awesome. Jeepers, we're not hitting our goals, not even close. I said, it's awesome. He's like, yeah. And I said, what's awesome about it? He says, you. I'm like, really? Like, okay. Why do you say that? He's like, it's how you think. I'm like, he says, I've never in my life ever met anybody like how you think. And I'm like, really? What does that mean? He's like, that 6 o'clock morning breakfast meeting that we had this morning? And I said, yeah. And he said, you're on fire, Mark. You are absolutely on fire. Like it's crazy to see your brain. Like we're around with 8 other people at 6 o'clock in the morning and your brain is firing like it's on fire. Like, okay. And then he says, it's at 11:30 at night. We're traveling back from a bunch of events. And he says, your brain is equally on fire. Like everything, and everything in between. He's like, your brain is just, he says, I just love your brain. Well, that's really cool. And that was probably 18 years ago. So we're traveling home late at night after a long day. And he says that. I'm not sure. I think though, it was weird. I think I fell asleep then after that. And we got out of the car, and it was fine. There were events that he and I were at, and it was just him and I, and he never bothered him. He just always loved to just be with me. It was just crazy. And I loved being with him. Like we'd show up for podcasts, and it'd be just him and I. And all of a sudden, within a few weeks, there's a whole bunch of people that are joining us. And this is like, I don't know, 2-3 years after we wrote the book. And, he's dropping me off at the hotel because he lived there, and he dropped me off at the hotel. And he said, "Oh, by the way, Mark, this is 2 years, 3 years after we wrote the book." He says, "I read our book, like last night." I said, "What?" He's like, "It's really good." I'm thinking, but he had a system. He had his wife read the book. And if she gave it thumbs up, and she did, she says, "Yeah, it's a good book, Tom." It's like, okay. Didn't even read it until 2-3 years later. Like, I don't even know what to think about that. Oh, crazy. Kenny.
So yesterday me and Luke made some phone calls. We just joined on Zoom and then we made some phone calls together. So I think maybe Luke wants to share something about how that went. But I talked with just cold called a bunch of some people. One of them was a business owner. His biggest challenge is time. Then I wanted to drop off some brochures today, and I was thinking for that I would also like to give him a booklet, and be like, "Hey, I was thinking about you. What you said your biggest challenge was, and maybe this will help you."
Right? That's what I'm saying.
But I'm not sure which one.
Right? Yeah, right? So they're categorized as, flip book for personal success. So you have Riverside Retreat, Friendship, Your Voice in My Headset, Friendship Healing, and then you have the Financial Freedom in the personal section. And then in the business section, you have business operating system. And so do you want to help him business wise, or do you want to help him personal? Anybody know the answer to that question?
Both.
Yeah. Yep. You want to help him business or person? Yep. You want a popsicle or a candy bar? Yep. My kids got it down. Yep. Want both. It's not all like I want both. So yeah. So you have both. Good. Ooh, this is good. Okay. And so on the, so good. See, when you're part of awe moments, like your voice in my headset, when you're part of that, like you're just going to get the awe factor. Like, and you guys, holy cow, there's a new song. Have you guys heard the new song on the friendship stuff? I think you guys were there. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's got its own song. It must be legit then, big time. And so so is he in business?
Yes, he's a
What's
business
his
owner
biggest
and
challenge?
married, 4 kids. He
Nice.
has time.
Time. Ooh. I know the answer to that.
What is it?
It's The Secret About Time. Well, that's not one of the ones on here. I
Not one
know,
of the
but it
books.
could be. It could be. We could put that one in there. Like if you're really nice to Nora, she has connections in high places. She can make things happen that are magical. And so, or the other option, if you wanted to do, you could do business operating system and then connect it to the time. And there's probably something in here. I forget. They all mush together for me. So
There is.
yeah, so you can go ahead and connect that back into time. And you can say, here's one, and this has really helped me out, helped other out. And so it's all about, it's about using I mentioned the book by John MacArthur, I think his name is, 21 Irrefutable Laws to Leadership. I read that when I was in my 30s, maybe. So if you guys read it in your 20s, like, hey, like, oh, hello, like, that'd be a good thing. I didn't read it until I was in my 30s. When I read it, I was so humble. I'm like, man, I suck. When I read that, I'm like, I suck as a leader. I mean, I just, jeepers, I didn't know any of that. Nobody taught me that. And I have a degree in management. They didn't teach me any of that stuff. And I mean, a book. I spend 5 years getting 3 business degrees. Don't learn that. Read one book, boom, learn stuff about, and it's leverage. I mean, I've learned stuff about leverage, like, oh, it's okay to utilize other people, like the Navy sniper, get them to do what they're in a better position to do, and then make sure that, hey, whatever somebody else gives you, you always give them more. You always seek to give them more, always. So I would do the 1-1.
Okay,
Yep.
that makes sense.
And
Where
Nora,
does it go to
sorry,
get
go ahead.
biggest challenges from people?
What's that?
Luke.
So yesterday I was having a conversation with someone, and then we were kind of talking about what they do. Then I kind of asked him, like, I, s- I said something about like, hey, this may be kind of like a weird question or a funny question, but what would you say is your biggest challenge? And he didn't know, or like the way I asked it, it
Have
wasn't
you ever
smooth
heard
at
me
all.
like that, Luke?
What was that?
Have you ever have you ever heard me ask it that way?
No,
No. Why would you go ahead and ask it in a way that you've never heard me ask it?
not sure.
I don't know either. Probably that expressive. You don't want to. So you go into the doctor. I don't know if you guys have ever done this, but you go into a doctor.
That's exactly what it seemed like. I was just listening and I was, yeah,
It
that's
was
exactly it.
painful. It's just painful. It's just like, so you go into the doctor, you're sitting on, you come in, the doctor comes in, and the doctor goes ahead and says, hey, I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable or anything. Would you mind? I mean, it's if it feels uncomfortable, like you don't have to do it. Like, but would you mind? Like, if it's not too much, if it's not too uncomfortable, take off all your clothes and get naked, and then put this on, and then I'll come back in and talk to you after you put this on. I mean, is that like, Luke? If a doctor did that to you, what would you do?
I don't know.
That would be weird. That's just weird. That's just weird. That's just weird. Doctor comes in and says, take all your clothes off and put this on. I'll be back in. Like, it's just a matter of fact. It's just this is just what it is. Like, he's a doctor or she's a doctor. This is just what it is. This is what they do. So you've heard me say, there's some weird questions here, but kind of fun. That help me to get to know people. So which of these 4 shapes? It's not the biggest challenge question. You never say that for the biggest challenge. Reminds me of Ben when he was in 6th grade. He's like, comes running in one night. He's like, Dad. He's like, where do I get those little laminated cards about the personality? I'm like, in the back of the door, on the back of that room there. He's like, okay. So he's 6th grade. So he takes those. I don't even know what he's going to do with them. Next day, we're at a track meet. And he comes up to me, he says, Dad, can you help me out? I'm like, sure, buddy. And he's like, he says, that thing that you do with a personality? I'm like, yeah. He says, it didn't work for me. I'm like, what do you mean it didn't work for you? He says, I did it like you did it. Didn't work. I said, well, how'd you do it? I said, what do you mean it didn't work? He says, yeah, like all my friends are mad at me. I'm like, how's that happen? He's like, I don't know, Dad. I did it just like you. I said, how'd you do it? He says, well, I asked them the 4 shapes, and then I told them what their problem was, what they were weak in. I'm like, no, you can't do that. You can't do that, buddy. You got to tell them the strengths first. And then you got to be soft on the weaknesses. So this might be some of your greatest. So what he did is I did just like you. So like this is the golf pro principle. We'll tell that some other time. And so, or hopefully you know that already. I don't know. So you think you're using the systems. You think you're doing what you're being told to do. You're not. Well, I did it just like you. No, you probably didn't. You probably didn't. Because this is craftsmanship. I mean, it is absolute artistry. Like it's absolute. And so I'll say that about the shapes, and then I do a laugh at just the thing. It's got to be done just perfectly. If you don't, like it's just weird. Like, I don't know if I ask you this question, I don't know if it's too deeply personal, and I don't know that it might be offensive to you. What you're telling them to do is you're training their brain to go ahead and be exactly that, create drama. They're not going to like it. So he's like, oh, I said, but Ben, you got to lead with strengths and then bring in good point, Dad. Can you clean it up for me? Not a problem, son. So he goes and gets his sixth grade friend come over. And then I do it. And I say, hey, what's this? And then I tell them, what do they do? Like the woman at the well with Jesus. They go get all their other friends. Come over, this dude. Like, I'm like the coolest dad in the world. Like, it's cool. Like, all of a sudden, all these kids come. Now I got a whole bunch of kids around me. Like, there's all these kids around me. And then what happens? All the moms come. Like, they're on the outer edge. Like, who is this? Is this some pedophile? Like, no, I'm trying to help your kids understand themselves and other people. And so all of a sudden, I have this whole crowd around me. Because Ben didn't listen to his dad. This needs to be done precisely. Don't try to, like, he's not old. He's just been doing it for a long time, and he's got it down. It's not perfect, but it's flawless. It's less flawed today. So every day, even after 30 plus years of doing this, I still am learning, like little tones, little size, like this. It's absolutely, when you look at it, it's absolutely masterful. And at the Coffee Connection, if you're not part of a Coffee Connection, get part of one, be part of the virtual, and then be part of a live. Set up your own Coffee Connection. Like, I'm telling you, the amount of business and what you'll learn there is absolutely phenomenal. And you watch me. Just watch me. Watch the body language. Watch the voice, the tone, how I handle my hands and my arms and my body, and how I just go through it. Watch how I go ahead and move the people around me. Like, watch how the grandkids come up. Like, just watch everything. Just sit there, and everything else is blacked out. All you do is just watch and just see the energy that happens. Like, it's just crazy. Nice. Ooh, this is starting to get good.
So sometimes when asking the biggest challenge, like people don't know. Maybe it's because I ask it wrong, but like
So if they say they don't know, say, "Ooh, that's really good. That is awesome." They're like, "What do you mean? You don't know what problems you have. You don't have any challenge." So I don't know. I think
you also kind of want them to not give you an answer, or want them to not know.
No, you want them to know.
No. In how Luke asked the question.
Oh,
like, please don't tell me. Please don't tell me.
Right. Right.
Gotcha.
Right. But there are, especially in the Amish, so they don't seem to know. But is it that they don't know, or they just don't want to be vulnerable? So you got to be safe. You got to be like, hey, like, what would you say the biggest challenge you might be facing in, like any area of your life? Like my hands are like opening up, like my chest, my body, my energy is opening up to you. Like it's safe. It's like whatever. And when you learn how to do it, it's crazy. My wife is cheating on me. Okay, copy that. Like my 16-year-old daughter, she just tried to commit suicide. My son, he's a drug addict. It's like, whoa, baby cakes. And that's why if you don't want to deal with what they come up with, it's okay. You can just say, well, there's a nonprofit organization. They're amazing at dealing with that. And so you can dish it off to somebody else if it's too deep or too messy. It's okay to do that. But yeah, yeah. So yeah, they're in control. You're not in control. They're in control of what they release to you. So they can go deep if they want, and you're fine with that. You're okay with that. Like my son is a drug addict. Interesting. You could say, tell me more, or you could go ahead and say, I've got somebody that I think might be able to give you some, they can relate to that. Oh, it's anything else that you guys have? We got to get to the next one. Like, man, this is a 5-star. This is a 5-star right here. Like this one here. Great example of what it is. Not everyone's like this, but these are the ones you live for. Amazing. You guys are awesome, and keep up the good work.